Hi everyone, welcome to this sacred space. I'd just like to ask you all to get comfortable, and we're going to listen to the music and just tune in to ourselves, and then I may share some things with you afterwards. Just allow the mantra to move through your body, breathing easily and gently, making yourselves comfortable wherever you might be right now. Today is the 5th of January. I've just opened a spiritual diary, inspirational thought for each day of the year by the Self-Realization Fellowship. Most of this is written by Paramahansa Yogananda, and I've just realised opening this that today is the birthday of Paramahansa Yogananda. If I don't see you, remember I am working for you in some other place. My seeing you all the time will not necessarily help you. You will receive more by meditating deeply and regularly. I am not here only to help you in this life, but in the beyond also. And that was written by Paramahansa. So I suppose, knowing now that it's his birthday, I should probably read a little bit from Autobiography of a Yogi, which is his book, and say hello to everybody that's here. Good morning, Heidi. Good morning, Atik. Good morning, Caroline. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, Anoop. Good morning, Tony. Welcome, all of you. And welcome all those that may watch this at another time. So I'm going to open this book, we'll see where it falls. Open it again because I've read that twice already. Keeps opening on the same page, which is interesting. Years in my master's hermitage. You have come, Sri Yukteswar greeted me from a tiger skin on the floor of a balconied sitting room. His voice was cold, his manner unemotional. Yes, dear master, I am here to follow you. Kneeling, I touched his feet. How can that be? You ignore my wishes. No longer, Guruji. Your wish shall be my law. That's better. Now I can assume responsibility for your life. I willingly transfer the burden, master. My first request then is that you return home to your family. I want you to enter college in Calcutta. Your education should be continued. Very well, sir. I hide my consternation. First, Father, now Sri Yukteswar, some day you will go to the West. Its people will lend ears more receptive to India's ancient wisdom if the strange Hindu teacher has a university degree. You know best, Guruji, my gloom departed. The reference to the West I found puzzling. Remote, but my opportunity to please Master by obedience was vitally immediate. You will be near in Calcutta. Come here whenever you find a time. Every day, if possible, Master. Gratefully I accept your authority in every detail of my life, on one condition, yes, that you promise to reveal God to me. An hour-long verbal tussle ensued. A master's word cannot be falsified. It is not lightly given. The implications in the pledge open out vast metaphysical vistas. A guru must be on intimate terms indeed with the Creator before he can obligate him to appear I sensed Sri Yukteswar's divine unity and was determined as his disciple to press my advantage. You are of exacting disposition. Then Master's consent rang out with compassionate finality. Let your wish be my wish. Lifelong shadow lifted from my heart. The vague search hither and yon was over. I had found eternal shelter in a true guru. Come, I will show you the hermitage. Master rose from his tiger mat. I glanced about me. My gaze fell with astonishment on a wall picture garlanded with a spray of jasmine. Lahiri Mayasaya. Yes, my divine guru. Sri Yukteswar's tone was reverently vibrant. Greater he was, as man and yogi, than any other teacher whose life came within the range of my investigations. Silently I bowed before the familiar picture. Soul homage sped to the peerless Master, who, blessing my infancy, had guided my steps to this hour. Led by my guru, I strolled over the house and its grounds. Large, ancient and well built, the hermitage was surrounded by a massive pillared courtyard. Outer walls were moss-covered. Pigeons fluttered over the flat grey roof, unceremoniously sharing the ashram quarters. A rear garden was pleasant with jackfruit, mango and plantain trees. Balustraded balconies of upper rooms in the two-storied building faced the courtyard from three sides. A spacious ground floor hall, with high ceilings supported by colonnades was used. Master said chiefly during the annual festivities. Durga Puja. A narrow stairway led to Sri Yukteswar's sitting room, whose small balcony overlooked the street. The ashram was plainly furnished. Everything was simple, clean and utilitarian. Several Western-style chairs, benches and tables were in evidence. Master invited me to stay overnight. A supper of vegetable curry was served by two young disciples who were receiving hermitage training. Guruji, please tell me something of your life. I was squatting on a straw mat near his tiger skin. The friendly stars were very close. It seemed beyond a balcony. My family name was Priya Nath Karar. I was born here in Seramore, where father was a wealthy businessman. He left me his ancestral mansion, now my hermitage. My formal schooling was little. I found it slow and shallow. In early manhood, I undertook the responsibilities of a householder, and I have one daughter, now married. My middle life was blessed with the guidance of Lahiri Mayasaya. After my wife died, I joined the Swami order and received the new name of Sri Yukteswar Giri. Such are my simple annals. Master smiled at my eager face. Like all biographical sketches, his words had given the outward facts without revealing the inner man. Guruji, I would like to hear some stories of your childhood. I will tell you a few, each one with a moral. Sri Yukteswar's eyes twinkled with his warning. My mother once tried to frighten me with an appalling story of a ghost in a dark chamber. I went there immediately and expressed my disappointment at having missed the ghost. Mother never told me another horror tale. Moral, look fear in the face and it will cease to trouble you. Another early memory is my wish for an ugly dog belonging to a neighbour. I kept my household in turmoil for weeks to get that dog. My ears were deaf to offers of pets with more prepossessing appearance. Moral, attachment is blinding. It leads to an imaginary halo of attractiveness to the object of desire. A third story concerns the plasticity of the youthful mind. I heard my mother's remark occasionally, "A man who accepts a job under anyone is a slave." That impression became so indelibly fixed that even after my marriage I refused all positions. I met expenses by investing my family endowment in land. Moral, good and positive suggestions should instruct the sensitive ears of children. Their early ideas long remain sharply etched. Master fell into tranquil silence. Around midnight he led me to a narrow cot. Sleep sound and sweet, the first night under my Guru's roof. Sri Yukteswar chose the following morning to grant me his Kriya Yoga initiation. The technique I had already received from 2 disciples of Lahiri Mayasaya, Father and my tutor Swami Keblananda, but in Master's presence I felt transforming power. At his touch, a great light broke upon my being, like the glory of countless suns blazing together. A flood of ineffable bliss, overwhelming my heart to an innermost core, continued during the following day. It was late that afternoon before I could bring myself to leave the hermitage. "You will return in 30 days. As I reached my Calcutta home, the fulfillment of Master's prediction entered with me. None of my relatives made the pointed remarks I had feared about the reappearance of the soaring bird. I climbed to my little attic and bestowed affectionate glances, as though on a living presence. You have witnessed my meditations, and the tears and storms of my sadhana. Now I have reached the harbour of my divine teacher. Son, I am happy for us both, Father. Father and I sat together in the evening calm. You have found your Guru. As in miraculous fashion I once found my own. The holy land of Lahiri Mayasaya is guarding our lives. The holy hand of Lahiri Mayasaya is guarding our lives. Your Master has proved no inaccessible Himalayan saint, but one nearby. My prayers have been answered. You have not, in your search for God, been permanently removed from my sight. Father was also pleased that my formal studies would be resumed. He made suitable arrangements, and I was enrolled in the following day at the Scottish Church College in Calcutta. Happy months sped by. My readers have doubtless made perspicacious surmise that I was little seen in the college classrooms. Seramore's hermitage led allure, too irresistible. Master accepted my ubiquitous presence without comment. To my relief, he seldom referred to the halls of learning, though it was plain to all that I was never cut out for a scholar. I managed to attain minimum passing grades from time to time. Daily life at the ashram flowed smoothly and frequently varied. My Guru awoke before dawn, lying down or sometimes sitting on the bed. He entered a state of samadhi. It was simplicity itself to discover when Master had awakened, abrupt halt of stupendous snores, a sigh or two, perhaps a bodily movement, and then a soundless state of breathlessness. He was in a deep yogic joy. Breakfast did not follow. First came a long walk by the Ganges. Those morning strolls with my Guru, how real and vivid still. In the easy resurrection of memory, I often find myself by his side. The early sun is warming the river. His voice rings out, rich with the authenticity of wisdom. A bath, and then a midday meal. Its preparation, according to Master's daily directions, had been the careful task of young disciples. My Guru was a vegetarian. Before embracing monkhood, however, he had eaten eggs and fish. His advice to students was to follow any simple diet which proved suited to one's constitution. Master ate little, often rice coloured with turmeric or juice of beets or spinach, and lightly sprinkled with buffalo ghee or melted butter. Another day he might have lentil dal or chana curry with vegetables. For dessert, mangoes or oranges with rice pudding or jackfruit juice. You might be interested to know that the smoothie that I made this morning was actually mango and turmeric. Funny how all these things weave their way together, isn't it? Visitors appeared in the afternoons. A steady stream poured from the world into the hermitage tranquillity. Everyone found in Master an equal courtesy and kindness. To a man who has realized himself as a soul, not the body or the ego, the rest of humanity assumes a striking similarity of aspect. The impartiality of saints is rooted in wisdom. Masters have escaped Maya. Its alternating faces of intellect and idiocracy no longer cast an influential glance. Sri Yukteswar showed no special consideration for those who happened to be powerful or accomplished. There's a lovely picture of him. Neither did he slight others for their poverty or illiteracy. He would listen respectfully to words of truth from a child and openly ignore a conceited pundit. 8 o'clock was the supper hour, and sometimes found lingering guests. My guru would not excuse himself to eat alone. None left his ashram hungry or dissatisfied. Sri Yukteswar was never at a loss, never dismayed by unexpected visitors. Scanty food would emerge, a banquet under his resourceful direction, yet he was economical. His modest funds went far. Be comfortable within your purse, he often said. Extravagance will buy you discomfort. Whether in the details of hermitage entertainment or his building and repair work or other practical concerns, Master manifested the originality of a creative spirit. Quiet evening hours often brought one of my guru's discourses, treasures against time. His every utterance was measured and chiselled by wisdom. A sublime self-assurance marked his mode of expression. It was unique. He spoke as none other in my experience ever spoke. His thoughts were weighed in a delicate balance of discrimination before he permitted them to an outward garb. The essence of truth, all-pervasive, with even a psychological aspect, came from him, like a fragrant exudation of the soul. It was conscious always that I was in the presence of a living manifestation of God. I was conscious always that I was in the presence of a living manifestation of God. The weight of his divinity automatically bowed my head before him. If late guests detected that Sri Yukteswar was becoming engrossed with the infinite, he quickly engaged them in conversation. He was incapable of striking a pose or of flaunting his inner withdrawal. Always one with the Lord, he needed no separate time for communion. A self-realized master has already left behind the stepping stone of meditation. The flower falls when the fruit appears. But saints often cling to spiritual forms for the encouragement of disciples. As midnight approached, my guru might fall into a doze with the naturalness of a child. There was no fuss about bedding. He often lay down, even without a pillow, on a narrow davenport, which was the background for his customary tiger-skin seat. A night-long philosophical discussion was not rare. Any disciple could summon it by intensity of interest. I felt no tiredness then, no desire for sleep. Master's living words were sufficient. Oh, it is dawn. Let us walk by the Ganges. So ended many of my periods of nocturnal edification. My early months with Sri Yukteswar culminated in a useful lesson: how to outwit a mosquito. At home, my family always used protective curtains at night. I was dismayed to discover that in the Saravmore hermitage, his prudent custom was honoured in the breach. Yet the insects were in full residency. I was bitten from head to foot. My guru took pity on me. "Buy yourself a curtain, and also one for me," he laughed. "If you buy only one for yourself, all mosquitoes will concentrate on me." I was more than thankful to comply. Every night that I spent in Saravmore, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, my guru would ask me to arrange the bedtime curtains. The mosquitoes one evening were especially virulent, but Master failed to issue his usual instructions. I listened nervously to the anticipatory hum of the insects. Getting into bed, I threw a proprietary prayer in their general direction. A half-hour later, I coughed pretentiously to attract my guru's attention. I thought I would go mad with bites, and especially the singing drone as the mosquitoes celebrated bloodthirsty rites. No responsive stir from Master. I approached him cautiously. He was not breathing. This was my first observation of him in the yogic trance. It filled me with fright. His heart must have failed. I placed a mirror under his nose. No breath vapour appeared. To make doubly certain, for a minute, I closed his mouth and nostrils with my fingers. His body was cold and motionless. In a daze, I turned towards the door to summon help. "So, a budding experimentalist, my poor nose!" Master's voice was shaky with laughter. "Why don't you go to bed? Is the whole world going to change for you? Change yourself. Be rid of the mosquito consciousness." Meekly I returned to my bed. Not one insect ventured near. I realized that my guru had previously agreed to the curtains only to please me. He had no fear of mosquitoes. His yogic power was such that he either could will them not to bite, or could escape to an inner invulnerability. He was giving me a demonstration, I thought. That is the yogic state I must strive to attain. A yogi must be able to pass into and continue in the superconsciousness, regardless of multitudinous distractions, never absent from this earth, whether in the buzz of insects or the pervasive glare of daylight. The testimony of the senses must be barred. Sound and sight come then indeed, but to worlds fairer than the banished Eden. The instructive mosquitoes served for another early lesson at the ashram. It was the gentle hour of dusk. My guru was matchlessly interpreting the ancient texts. At his feet I was in perfect peace. A rude mosquito entered the idol and competed for my attention. As it dug a poisonous hypodermic needle into my thigh, I automatically raised an avenging hand. Reprieve from impending execution. An opportune memory came to me, one of Patanjali's yoga aphorisms, that on amisa, harmlessness. Why didn't you finish the job? Master, do you advocate taking life? No, but the death blow already had been struck in your mind. I don't understand. Patanjali's meaning was the removal of desire to kill. Sri Yukteswar had found my mental process, an open book. This world is inconveniently arranged for a literal practice of amisa. Man may be compelled to exterminate harmful creatures. He is not under similar compulsion to feel anger or animosity. All forms of life have equal right to the air of Maya. The saint who uncovers the secret of creation will be in harmony with its countless bewildering expressions. All men may approach that understanding who curb the inner passion for destruction. Guruji, should one offer himself a sacrifice rather than kill a wild beast? No man's body is precious. It has the highest evolutionary value because of unique brain and spinal centers. These enable the advanced devotee to fully grasp and express the loftiest aspects of divinity. No lower form is so equipped. It is true that one incurs the debt of a minor sin if he is forced to kill an animal or any living thing, but the Vedas teach that wanton loss of a human body is a serious transgression against the karmic law. I sighed in relief. Scriptural reinforcement of one's natural instincts is not always forthcoming. It so happened that I never saw Master at close quarters with a leopard or a tiger, but a deadly cobra once confronted him, only to be conquered by my Guru's love. This variety of snake is much feared in India, where it causes more than 5,000 deaths annually. The dangerous encounter took place at Puri, where Sri Yukteswar had a second hermitage, charmingly situated near the Bay of Bengal. Prafulla, a young disciple of later years, was with Master on this occasion. We were seated outdoors near the ashram, Prafulla told me. A cobra appeared nearby, a 4-foot length of sheer terror. His hood was angrily expanded as it raced towards us. My Guru gave a welcoming chuckle, as though to a child. I was beside myself with consternation to see Master engage in a rhythmical clapping of hands. He was entertaining the dread visitor. I remained absolutely quiet, inwardly ejaculating what fervent prayers I could muster. The serpent very close to my Guru was now motionless, seemingly magnetized by his caressing attitude. The frightful hood gradually contracted. The snake slithered between Master's feet and disappeared into the bushes. Why my Guru would move his hands, and why the cobra would not strike him, were inexplicable to me. Prafulla concluded, I have since come to realize that my Divine Master is beyond fear of hurt from any living creature. One afternoon during my early months at the ashram, I found Sri Yukteswar's eyes fixed on me piercingly. You are too thin, Mukunda. His remark struck a sensitive point. My sunken eyes and emaciated appearance were far from my liking, was testified to by rows of tonics in my room at Calcutta. Nothing availed. Chronic dyspepsia had pursued me since childhood. My despair reached an occasional zenith when I asked myself if it were worthwhile to carry on this life with a body so unsound. Medicines have limitations. The creative life force has none. Believe that and you shall be well and strong. Sri Yukteswar's words aroused the conviction of personally applicable truth, which no other healer and I had tried many, had been able to summon within me. Day by day, behold, I waxed. 2 weeks after Master's hidden blessing, I had accumulated the invigorating weight which eluded me in the past. My persistent stomach ailments vanished with a lifelong permanency. On later occasions I witnessed my Guru's instantaneous divine healings of persons suffering from ominous diseases, tuberculosis, diabetes, epilepsy or paralysis. Not one could have been more grateful for his cure than I was at sudden freedom from my cavernous aspect. Years ago I was too anxious to put on weight. Sri Yukteswar told me, During convalescence after a severe illness, I visited Lahiri Mayasaya in Benares. Sir, I have been very sick and lost many pounds. I see, Sri Yukteswar. You made yourself unwell and now you think you are thin. This reply was far from the one I had expected. My guru, however, added encouragingly, "Let me see, I am sure you ought to feel better tomorrow." Taking his words as a gesture of secret healing toward my receptive mind, I was not surprised the next morning at the welcome accession of strength. I sought out my master and exclaimed exultingly, "Sir, I feel much better today." "Indeed, today you invigorate yourself." "No, master," I protested. "It was you who helped me. This is the first time in weeks that I have had any energy." This is quite a long chapter. Okay, I'll read a little bit more. "Oh yes, your malady has been quite serious. Your body is frail yet. Who can say how it will be tomorrow? The thought of possible return of my weakness brought me a shudder of cold fear. The following morning I could hardly drag myself to Lahiri Mayasaya's home. Sir, I am ailing again." My guru's glance was quizzical. "So, once more, you indispose yourself. Gurudeva, I realize now that day by day you have been ridiculing me. My patience was exhausted. I don't understand why you disbelieve my truthful reports." "Really? It has been your thoughts that have made you feel alternately weak and strong." My master looked at me affectionately. "You have seen how your health has exactly followed your expectations. Thought is a force, even as electricity or gravitation. The human mind is a spark of almighty consciousness of God. I could show you that whatever your powerful mind believes very intensely would instantly come to pass." Knowing that Lahiri Mayasaya never spoke idly, I addressed him with great awe and gratitude. "Master, if I think I am well and have regained my former weight, shall that happen?" "It is so, even at this moment." My guru spoke gravely, his gaze concentrated on my eyes. "Lo, I felt an increase not alone of strength but of weight." Lahiri Mayasaya retreated into silence. After a few hours at his feet, I returned to my mother's home, where I stayed during my visit to Benares. "My son, what is the matter? Are you swelling with dropsy?" Mother could hardly believe her eyes. My body was now of the same robust dimensions it had possessed before my illness. I weighed myself and found that in one day I had gained 50 pounds. They remained with me permanently. Friends and acquaintances who had seen my thin figure were aghast with wonderment. A number of them changed their mode of life and became disciples of Lahiri Mayasaya as a result of this miracle. My guru, awake in God, knew this world to be nothing but an objectivized dream of the Creator. Because he was completely aware of his unity with the divine dreamer, Lahiri Mayasaya could materialize or dematerialize or make any change he wished in the cosmic vision. "All creation is governed by law," Sri Yukteswar concluded. "The ones which manifest in the outer universe, discoverable by scientists, are called natural laws. But there are subtle laws ruling the realms of consciousness, which can be known only through the inner science of yoga. The hidden spiritual planes also have their natural and lawful principles of operation. It is not the physical scientist, but the fully self-realized master who comprehends the true nature of matter. Thus Christ was able to restore the servant's ear after it had been severed by one of the disciples. Sri Yukteswar was a peerless interpreter of the scriptures. Many of my happiest memories are centered in his discourses, but his jeweled thoughts were were not cast into ashes of heedlessness or stupidity. One restless movement of my body, or my slight lapse into absent-mindedness, sufficed to put an abrupt period to Master's exposition. "You are not here," Master interrupted himself one afternoon with his disclosure. As usual, he was keeping track of my attention with a devastating immediacy. "Guruji," my tone was protestant. "I have not stirred, my eyelids have not moved. I can repeat each word you have uttered. Nevertheless, you were not fully with me. Your objection forces me to remark that in your mental background you were creating 3 institutions. One was a sylvan retreat on a plain, another on a hilltop, and a third by the ocean." Those vaguely formulated thoughts had indeed been present, almost subconsciously. I glanced at him apologetically. What can I do with such a master who penetrates my random musings? "You have given me that right. The subtle truths I am expounding cannot be grasped without your complete concentration. Unless necessary, I do not invade the seclusion of others' minds. Man has the natural privilege of roaming secretly among his thoughts. The unbidden Lord does not enter there. Neither do I venture intrusion." I think that will do. I'll read some more another time. I'm going to meditate now for a few minutes. So if anyone wants to join me, please feel free. And we'll just take some silence. Connect with the breath. And notice how your body is feeling. Just be aware of how the body is feeling. There might be somewhere that you need to take your attention to. Just allow your body's wisdom to guide you. And let's now envisage ourselves as healthy beings. With each breath, breathing in health and well-being, and breathing out peace and love. Placing a hand on your heart chakra and on your solar plexus now. And just breathe into anywhere where there may be some challenge, discomfort, where your body is calling your attention. Take your full awareness to that place within you and allow yourself to dive deeply into whatever that is that's calling your attention. Breathe into the belly. As you breathe out, bring the belly in. With each breath, breathing in new experiences into your life. With each breath, feeling the body healing and rebalancing. Now we're going to move on to breathing through the nose more in a more concentrated way. So putting your finger over your right nostril, left nostril, breathing in through the right nostril. Just follow me. And bringing your hands down. And just be with that feeling. Be with whatever's happening in the body, breathing through your nose. Now, just bringing your arms above your head and just stretch out your body. Much love to you all. Hope you've enjoyed this free session. If anyone would like to donate, I'll post a link underneath. Have a blessed day. If you're just tuning in now, there's different things available on this today, some meditation, some reading, some exercises, and lots of wisdom. Much love, many blessings. Om Shanti, Shanti Shanti. Bye.